Hello everyone, my name is Katie Quixotic, this is Crituitous RP, and we're playing Half-Rate Heroes today, woo! I hope everyone's having a wonderful day on this beautiful Saturday morning. It's actually not 1,000,000 degrees today, so I'm in a good mood. And how about everybody introduce themselves, and we'll start with Carl.
Hi, I am Carl, and I'm playing Lafcadio Whitehorn, the Tabaxi Warlock.
And Vinny.
Hi, I am Vinny, and I am playing Kale Irvine, the half-elven cleric.
Graham.
I'm like Graham or whatever, and I played Haslin, Evrio, the Shatterkai Necromancer or whatever. Don't make it a thing. Gosh.
And John.
Morning, everybody. I am John. I am playing Welcome Thunderbelly, your battle master dwarf for the day.
And last but not least, Casey.
I'm Casey.
Hi, Casey.
Casey H on social media, and I am the Hobgoblin Asmar, Champion of Timor, and Pillar of Plains, Heckler, Big Fire Chicken, Shoot, Fight, Storm, Nasa, Boss of Neverwinter!
Yeah.
So who would like to do a recap of... Oh, actually, do we have any housekeeping stuff? I don't think so. No? Okay. Who would like to do a recap of last session?
I will do it, but I need you guys to do the Weema ways. Okay, I guess I'll do it without the Weema ways. Some people don't want to join in. I see how it is.
Well, it'll be hard to coordinate because there's that slight delay, so you'll get 4 different Wiimote, and it'll all be within a few seconds of each other, and it'll be really overwhelming.
It's just being canon, though, so it's a valid artistic choice. But anyways, so last episode, the Half-Rate Hero gang were summoned by the Lion King, Nobanian himself, and they were on a spirit quest for Lafcadio, and they trudged through the woods, and they were given the divine inspiration to find shrines of power of gods, of various gods. I don't think he was totally specific. Also, he told Lafcadio, "You're a great guy," and he gave him a whole brand new net and a bracer, which I'm sure Lafcadio can go into detail about. And then I think that's all I remember, anyways.
That's the gist of it. And why don't each of you start off by telling me how you are, how your characters are feeling in this moment after everything you've just experienced, and we'll go in the stream order clockwise, starting with Carl.
So, I believe the little gift I got from Nabanian was a bracer or bracelet or something like that, and the effect that shown on the net was more suggestive of the powers in the bracer, the power of the bracer being the ability to cast the spell Earthbind once a day. So that gift and the being reminded by Kale that we have a flying enemy who is pestering us, along with the vote of confidence from Nabanian, has made Lafcadio, or has made me overwhelmed with joy and purpose. I'm just really excited to kill the dragon, because basically Nabanian said that that's the thing I'm supposed to do, and he gave me a tool to help with that. So Nabanian is on my side, and I am super thrilled about that.
Point of note, you didn't actually have the net identified, so you're not sure whether or not there was some sort of actual impact to it, or if it was just part of the whole process.
I thought I identified it.
You cast identify and you looked at the bracelet, but you never looked at the net.
It's cursed!
Shame on you, wizard.
Yeah, whatever.
And Vinny, how's Kale today? How's
Kale, he's stoked for his Brahim. Lafcadio was the first person he met on this adventure since it started. and he's always been down in the dumps or doubtful about his relationship with his god, and it's nice to see that. It's nice for Kale to see his friend's hard work being acknowledged, so he's stoked about that. But mostly he's just like really pissed off at Naren Bane and wants to go kill him.
Fair. Anger is a valid emotion. And Casey, how's Knots today? How's she feeling after all this?
She's pretty concerned. Like, the surface level, she's got the joviality. Joviality, is that the word?
Sure.
I think, yeah. That sounds like a real word to me.
It sounds like it, yeah. But underneath, she's hiding a large mountain of concern for her pals because they keep doing things that should change them completely from head to toe, but either they're not changing in the ways that she predicted, or they're changing too fast. And she's realizing that she's lost tabs on a lot of the things that she used to have a point of having a beat on. And right now, I think that she has a short game in mind of just giving everybody twice as many hugs as usual, and hope that helps. But yeah, as far as this shadow dragon goes, I've never met him before. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. But yeah, she's never met Naren Bane before. She wasn't alive when all of that started. So she doesn't know what to expect. So she should probably clear that up before we get to him.
Well, she was in the church, right, when his head came in and did stuff.
Yeah, but
that's not really like a meeting, I guess.
He didn't do anything particularly special. Like, what's
right.
A shadow dragon versus a normal dragon? Is it just the breath thing? And if it is the breath thing, like, they said that they kicked his butt before. It's like, how did they kick his butt? Don't know. Would like to.
Fair point. All right. And how's Wampum today? How's he feeling after all this?
Wampum is still kind of processing the dead compatriots showing back up. So he downed a couple small barrels of Thunderbelly Ale. He is happy that his compatriots are back and alive. He don't understand why they're back and alive. So he's processing that, and then when the decision of going after Naren Bane, a smile came across his face, and now he feels like, okay, he has purpose again, so it is time to go kill a dragon.
Trigger fingers itchy. Got it. And how's Taslin after all this?
I think Taslin is a little withdrawn. I think he doesn't necessarily enjoy dealing with divine beings very much, and he may be having like second thoughts about going to the Shadowfell or like finding a Raven Queen's shrine because he really doesn't want to deal with her directly.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So you've all had some conversations about your plans for the future and where you plan to travel and how you plan to exact these plans. And you're still standing in the middle of a forest. Last we left off. So, how would you like to proceed?
Walk back to Neverwinter and see if the Harpers can teleport us.
Okay.
To Waterdeep.
All right. And Vintage Dream is still with you and is able to help you if you do need it, pick your way out easily enough. Takes about the same amount of time to travel back. So at this point, you're reaching sort of like that early afternoon, like 4 o'clock-ish time. You set off sometime around noon, took a little over hour and a half to get there, about the same time to get back. So nearing on dinner time would be the best way to describe it, I suppose. What do you do with your Skelly boys, Taslin, as you head back to the city?
Oh, yeah. Taslin will command the Skelly boys to stay at a spot out of view in the forest. I mean, I think Taslin would have them, like, he'd dig a bunch of shallow holes and have them just lay in the holes. So he'd just, like, haphazardly, like, push the dirt over them and be like, just stay there until I come back.
Okay. I mean, they're bound to you, and so they comply. How deeply are you digging these
not
shallow
deep at all.
graves?
Not deep at all. So, like, if someone stumbled upon them, they'd see, like, a skeleton hand be like, "Blah!" on the ground.
So, like, they lay down and their ribs are kind of showing a little bit, like, okay.
And I mean, if Taslim doesn't recast Anime Dead within 24 hours, they'll probably dissipate. I don't think he's tested that, but they'll either dissipate or they'll just do their own thing. I don't know. That's up to you, really.
Taslim, I do agree with chat that I think all of the skeletons should be carrying barred weapons, barred instruments.
Okay. Taslin will go out after he buries them to buy a approximation of like a bass guitar or maybe like a bass lute, like a dulcimer or something. And he'll start getting them some instruments to play.
There you go.
Okay. So I forget what the name of a guitar maker is exactly, but are you going to go to like a specialty shop to buy them, or are you going to go to some place where you think they might have some stuff offhand? Do you have any other ideas in mind for any particular instruments?
Let's see. I think he'd be. Yep, one has to have an accordion. That's totally So one would have to have like a snare drum, like the little drummer boy.
Okay.
That's for the smallest skeleton. And then one will have like a lute. And
so a lute, a dulcimer. Sorry, go ahead.
And he's probably going to go to a specialty shop because he wants them to be bladed as well, like, or be able to be used as weapons. So not just decoration.
So his the lute will truly be an axe. Just like shaped with axe on the end.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Yeah, sure. Man, what are the cost of instruments? I have that.
The band is getting back together.
I don't think you get wind instruments. I think you probably want to stay away from those.
Yeah. I don't think they'd be very effective at that.
If you don't have the money, I'm footing the bill.
Okay. Let's see what Taslin still has for money after buying a house. He has 305 platinum.
I think that would be plenty for 4 instruments of normal quality. Now, most of them aren't going to come with blades on them, so you'll have to purchase the instruments, and then you'll take them to... Who would be the best to put? Maybe a blacksmith? Maybe somebody who does like more fine smithing work, so the blacksmith doesn't just pound the instruments.
Yeah, probably the elves.
The elves, mm-hmm. Yeah. So, can you think of a specific place in town that you've been to before? Or you're going to have to go find one.
Oh man, I don't think Taslin's been to any like blacksmith shops. Anytime. No, he has. Last time we were here with Wampum, Taslin came with Wampum because Wampum was getting stuff added to his armor.
And was that at a shop with fine works?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. What did you say, John? Didn't hear you.
All of the itty bitty spikes.
All the itty bitty spikes. Okay, and I feel like that's fine work.
Yeah. And okay. I think, well, I should probably roleplay it out. I shouldn't like just be like, I do this. Wampum, do you mind coming with me? I need an experienced eye for metalwork.
Aye. We can have fun doing this.
All right. I remember we went to that one place last time we were here. I don't remember the name because really names change all the time. But I'm sure you remember.
I remember his face, yes.
Well, that's a good start. Let's head that way, and I'll tell you about my plans on the way.
Oh, Lordy, what did I get myself into?
And so I'll fill
have fun.
Yeah, I'll fill Wampum in as we like walk.
Okay, and have you ever gone to an instrument sort of shop in the town before?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and make an investigation check as you look around, either on your own or ask around to see if you can find one.
All right. My passive investigation is a 20.
All right, we'll go with that.
will
Yeah.
roll. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
If you want me to roll, we can roll.
No, we'll take that one. So, do you think Taslin would ask around, or do you think that he would just walk into the market and sort of like deduce his way to go?
Yeah, I think Taslin, being kind of elfy, maybe not like super elfy anymore, but like has an eye for like appreciation for like arts and for like fine craft wood. So he can kind of deduce which ones are like secondhand, which ones are more of a finely crafted quality.
Okay,
and just heads
perfect.
to the one that seems to have the best product.
Okay, and so he's looking for the finely crafted more so. Okay,
Yep.
Sure. So you find you head through the market district area and you're looking around and you end up happening upon a place called Liars and Liars, and it's Lyres Liars and Liars Liars, and Liars and Liars Co. And you walk in and you see there's a high elven individual. It's a little bit difficult to determine their gender pronouns at a distance. They are kind of dressed in typical but fine like robes, looking like probably a studied individual as they're going around and plucking the different instruments and tuning them slightly and sort of like just closing up shop process, I guess, as they're kind of like checking on everything as they go around.
Is the door locked?
No, the door is still open.
Okay, that was the first thing I wanted to check. Taslin walks in and kind of strides right up to the counter and like looks at this individual for a second and just goes, "I would like to buy some instruments."
Well, you are in the right place then. What sort of instruments?
I'm looking for 4 instruments for a small band. No wind-powered or breath-powered instruments, please.
Luckily, we deal almost exclusively in stringed instruments, although we do have a few of the percussive nature.
Most excellent. And now that I think of it, I think a portable xylophone would be super cool. Do you have any recommendations? I'm looking for instruments that I can put some work into to make them a little bit more
deadly,
sharp, edgy, if you will.
They hear deadly and sharp, edgy, and nod with sort of this grin to themselves. Oh, very well. Perhaps you would like some of our blended steel and wood variety. We do have several lutes and lyres that are a bit meant more for sturdy, although of course beautiful work, sturdy wear, and the percussive instruments typically are fairly durable on their own. So, here, why don't you follow me? And they go over to this sort of like selection of hung lutes and lyres, and there are a few drums, like some small snare drums, and a few larger drums that are sort of sitting on either on the floor directly, depending on how big they are, or on like display shelf type of things. And so you were looking for 2 lutes, one bigger than the other, a drum, and an accordion, right? Was the last one?
Yeah. I'll trade out the drum for a xylophone, though.
Okay. They do actually have, there are a few small glockenspiels that are the small sort of compact xylophones, and although not inherently portable as such, you think it'd probably be fairly easy for a blacksmith to rig something that could be turned into sort of straps that you might see somebody carrying something like this on, like a harness. And they say, so here is our durable line. For the more adventurous types, we have several bards coming in here, and you'll find the prices are about the same. The wood, of course, is not of the absolute highest quality. It's the sturdier variety. So, if you have anything specific in mind, and you do see a selection of some of the larger and smaller so that they have a variety of tones and such.
Okay. Taslin isn't very hagglish, and he just says, "I'll take it."
What? Wampum walks around the store just plucking. Attitude. Attitude. That one might do.
Is Wampum musically inclined, or is this Wampum okay?
No.
Not a single one of them is actually out of tune, according to the dice.
So Tazin will point to 4 instruments and he'll just say, I'll take them.
Very well. So there are going to be then 2 lutes you said, so it's a total of 70 gold for those. And then you said a xylophone. We'll go ahead and go with the... those take a little bit more metal, so let's say that those are going to be... We'll say 15 gold for those, so that's 85 total. And then, wait, so you wanted 2 lutes, a xylophone, and what was the last one then?
2 lutes, xylophone, and an accordion.
An accordion. Let's see if they have an accordion, since this is mostly a string shop. Look at that, they do. They have one solitary accordion. It looks like it is used. They probably didn't commission this one or make it directly. This is something that has seen use, but it looks like it's delicately used and well taken care of. And there's not a price for accordions in here, so we'll say 20 gold, because those are a little bit more involved.
Okay.
So it comes to a total of 105.
All right, I have deducted it from my chart. And Tazin will just put the money down in platinum, and probably, I think he has to go up over the gold count because of the conversion rate. So he just slaps down like an extra platinum.
When you put down the extra one, which means you would normally have a change of 5 gold, they raise their eyebrow and say, I can wrap them up for you if you would like.
Oh, no need. I'm sure that I'll be back for repairs in like a week.
Very well. Absolutely. And they put the money into like something behind the counter that you can't see and reproduce 5 gold and just set it gently there, sort of like halfway between the two of you to see if you're going to take it or not.
I think Tazin's already like turned around. He's like carrying all 4 instruments in his hands and like having trouble. You're like clinks and like like as he's walking out the door.
I love it. Yeah, and they scoop the 5 gold back up and it disappears behind the counter. What are the rest of you doing while Tazlin and Wampum are on this journey of musical discovery?
Probably going to talk to the Harpers.
Okay.
As we're walking and talking, it's like, I wonder what they're off to buy. You think it'll be useful against the dragon?
Well, they have, I guess, Wampum has a pretty good track record of going out to buy, potions and stuff. That's helpful. So.
Yeah, I can't imagine what they're gonna come back with, because Wampum alone definitely functional, but he can be convinced to do other things.
Well, whatever gets us the edge against this dragon. This is like the most important thing that we're doing right now. So clearly, whatever they're doing is of vital importance to the mission.
And as you're walking, go ahead.
Speaking of vital importance mission stuff, what can this Narenbane do? Like I got the breath thing, but that's all I got. How that he didn't really seem like he was much more than just a dragon at the time.
No, the only thing we've seen him do that wasn't particularly dragon-like was that he could discorporate and become shadow. When we fought him before, he got into my Temple of the Gods by turning into shadows and going through the cracks in the door and reincorporating himself.
That's a tricky bitch.
I'm fairly confident I can keep him from doing that sort of thing.
Okay, so what's the plan? It sounds like you might have a little bit of one. Do you have one? How did you combat the incorporeal thing?
I had prepared the dawn prayer before. and I have prepared it again, and several others that will rain down holy fire and radiance on my enemies.
Okay, so just keep light on them, sounds like.
As with most things from the Shadowfell, I believe it's always a sound strategy.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And as you kind of finish this conversation, Bindustream turns to Lafcadio and says, I believe this is where we should part ways. But if you ever are in need of assistance, as I said, you can find us around in the forest.
I know we're far from home. Are you going to be all right getting back there, or are you going to hang around Neverwinter for a bit?
In light of recent developments, I think I'd like to stay in this area for a time.
All right. Well, good luck. If you need anything, we're always about.
I'll look for you if I find need of this.
Bye, friend!
Yeah, he sort of like nods and takes his leave, heading in a different direction in the city. So, back to Taslin and Wampum, you're on your way to a blacksmith now?
Yeah.
And this is one you've worked with before, right? You said that they did the studs on your armor? Okay. So who do you expect to find when you arrive at this smithy?
I don't remember their name, and neither would Taslin, because I don't think he cared enough to remember their name. But it was a dwarf, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So as you approach, that's fair. As you approach, you do hear the sounds of metal clanging, sort of pounding, hammering that blacksmiths do, sort of muffled in the background. And the shop, I'm assuming, has a storefront as well as a forge in it, as most blacksmiths would. Okay. So there's that sort of hammering sound kind of in the background, and the storefront is a little bit more towards the foreground of this shop. And so you approach and you see a familiar face checking their wares again. It's sort of like closing up shop time, so taking counts, counting the money that they've made throughout the day, such things.
Hey, good brother. I got a mission for you.
Ah, that's what I like to hear.
Well, you know how you turned me armor into the Gutbuster armor, right?
One of my finest pieces, I have to say.
I totally agree with you. It's been more than fantastic, and
Glad to hear it.
More than be praised that you do such good work. But I got four. How do I gonna say this? I got 4 instruments that I need you to Gutbuster up.
That sounds like a challenge.
I figured it would be. I need the sharp points where there be no sharp points. I need blades where there be no blades. I need steel where wood currently is. I need the instruments to be played, but yet played in a different way when it comes to the battle aspect.
Aye. Is Taslin like standing behind him with his arm full
he's
of
just
like?
holding all the instruments.
Yeah.
He's probably like having trouble like carrying them all, so like he's like trying his desperately to like not spill them onto the floor.
He's got like the pegs like of the lyres like looped over his fingers as he's holding this big xylophone and this accordion.
I also imagine as this is going by, he's like moving back and forth like in the background, like. Ah!
I assume these be the instruments to which you're referring.
But yeah, I'm afraid so.
Strings will suit well enough. can make a case for him. Some spikes on the end, maybe a retractable dagger or two. That one might prove difficult. I'll have to think on that one.
I know ye be up for the challenge.
I've been thinking about the accordion.
Shut up,
What
Taz.
if you- But they have handles. They can be brass knuckles.
Shut up, Tasman.
And that one, that's gonna need to be a bit more portable, I'd say, pointing at the xylophone, the glockenspiel, excuse me.
Maybe so.
I think I can work with this.
I have all the confidence in ye.
Not sure of the cost and materials quite yet, but given that you're a return customer, I'll ponder it and we'll talk on that. I'll give you a fair price.
I'm sure it'll be fair.
He comes over to start unloading the instruments from Tesla. He's like fumbling in the background and takes them and kind of stacks them up and just starts looking at them. And you can tell that there's like a thought process already going on of like measuring and picking them up and feeling how heavy they are and kind of like touching the edges and just in general already sort of like planning how this would occur in the future.
So how much time ye be thinking?
Well, we only have a few other orders in. I think might only take, if I put all of our work into it, a day or two to plan, craft it, attach it. No more than a few days.
That'd be fine by me. How about you, Taslin?
That sounds perfectly fine. On a different subject, if we wanted a very large sword, like the size that a giant might wield, you see, we're about to fight a dragon, I believe, and we have a friend who's very large that could use a sword of that size or a weapon of that size.
You see him thinking for a minute. I would drop the dice as I'm rolling it to see if they've offhand decided to make some giant sword. I think we might have something for you. Kind of like disappears into the back for a bit. You hear some conversation, somebody shouting over the sound of this hammering. Comes back with what is essentially like an enlarged longsword. Sets it down. Had a custom piece. Someone came through a while ago. They didn't pick it up in time.
How much?
I knew I should have had more prices ready to go. Let's see here. I'm like, surely the shopping episode is over, right? I didn't have my books then, so I won't need it this time. Let's see here. So, a normal longsword is 15 gold pieces. And this one is quite larger.
Katie, what are the dimensions on it? Like, is it 15 feet long? Is it 20 feet long? Is it...
Oh, how long is a normal longsword? It is about 3 times the size of a normal longsword. So it's just really unwieldy. Go ahead.
About
What'd you
9
say?
feet. About 9-10 feet.
Okay.
Perfect. Because this is for Gerald.
I don't know who Gerald is. Who's Gerald?
Taslin's Nightwalker.
Tell a story. Tell a story.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so once upon a time, we were in the Temple of the Seldarine, and it was our first time brushing against the Shadarkai who were stealing divinity. And they were pretty rude, and one of them stabbed Taslin in the kidney with a knife, and was all hot. And he was like, "Ha ha ha! I'm hot stuff. I have a Nightwalker. Prepare to die." And Taslin was like, "Actually, no. He's my Nightwalker now." And I used the Necromancer feat where you get to control one undead if they fail a save, and if they have under, I think it's 10 intelligence, they fail permanently and can't make another save ever until I use it again in their mind. So Gerald is a Nightwalker, also known as Gerald the Herald, that's currently in the Shadowfell waiting for Tazla to go get him.
Oh my god, I love it. So this is a good size then. He's interested in it.
Because Gerald is 15 feet wide, so yeah.
Okay. All right. So normal longsword is 15 gold pieces. Says we were going to part ways with this one for 45.
Tazla will put down 5 platinum and be like, all right.
And you see kind of like the same sort of shopkeepery instinct of like gently placing the 5 gold pieces somewhere between the two of you that would be your change, and just kind of taking a step back.
Tazla will be like, keep the change. Just these orders on the instruments, highest priority.
Aye, will do. Good money disappears again.
And then Tazlin's gonna look at the sword, then look at Wampum, then look at the sword, then look at Wampum.
You be carrying it.
Oh, that's what I was afraid of. Tazlin will like grab the sword. He's like dragging it, like using his entire body weight to like drag this unwieldy, super long sword.
What's your strength score?
10.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be heavy, but it wouldn't be like unbearably cumbersome.
Well,
And-
anything you need, Wampum?
I'd be good. Let's go. I'd be itching to go kill me a dragon.
Me too.
Okay, so you guys had to, I'm assuming since you all had the plan of going to the Harpers, you just kind of assumed you would all meet up there, is the thought process, since you just kind of made a beeline and left. So you all parted ways with Binge and Stream, and you headed for, where in the city would the location where the Harpers teleportation circles be?
In Neverwinter, there's a giant chasm. I don't. The actual technical name escapes me right now. If anyone knows it, they're not okay. There's a giant chasm that is ripped through Neverwinter, wound from battles long past, and the Harpers have planted a secret headquarters down there that it also is used as a vault for dangerous items. That's why they have a place at all. So you go down into the crag and up towards the top. There's like a ledge you can get out on, and there's a secret door there.
That sounds amazing. It's something that would normally be difficult to get to, but since Lefkadio is a member, he can lead you all easily.
We're actually all technically members. I think everybody
Oh.
except for me has like physical indications on their bodies.
Okay.
Yeah. I died and my whole body got reformed, so I don't have any tattoos that I once had.
Oh, was this like reincarnation? You were a different race before?
No, but I was entirely obliterated. Entirely.
Gotcha.
It was a true resurrection, actually.
All right. Well, you all make your way there. And what are you doing while you're waiting for Tazlin and Wampum to meet up with you?
I would like to make the point that you were talking about, Kale, how you can keep the dragon out now. The more that I'm thinking about it, if you fought the dragon in the temple and his thing is going incorporeal and your defense against that is Dawn, then wouldn't that mean if we fought him anywhere else, he'd have more ability to move out of the threat range? I don't think
I
Dawn's
suppose
going
it
to work
depends.
unless we have him under a roof.
Well, most dragons, I guess we haven't seen his lair. We don't know if it's open air, but I assume that it's not. And the Dawn spell can be turned and moved. So, I'll do that, and I have a few other abilities that I could make use of, and a few other prayers, probably. That would be useful. Also, I suppose I could maybe potentially think of some other things that we could do to keep him in the light. But we can discuss that when we have the whole team together, maybe in Waterdeep.
Have you had the opportunity to try to discern if you know much about shadow dragons? Kayla, as a learned individual.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
Taslin made a check when we first bought him.
Bought him?
Bought him?
Like,
Oh, fought him. Okay.
Fought, yeah.
I was like, you guys
Um,
bought Taslin? Wait, hold on. This was a aspect of the relationship that I was unaware of.
No, they bought me with friendship. Taslin did pass a successful check, like a history check, I think, to know a little bit about dragons, and not specifically Neuron Bane, but that originally they were a dragon on the material plane, went to the Shadowfell, so they have resistances to whatever they had resistances to, and then on top of that, resistances and are imbued by the Shadowfell. I think that's the general gist of what Taslin knows.
Okay, perfect. Just checking.
Kale.
Yep.
You're a pretty impressive individual that you can become a small sun or create the power of a small sun and then move it.
Well, truth be told, I don't actually have any power myself. It's just I'm a conduit through which Denier imposes his will upon this world.
I disagree. I get that you get some of it from him, like half of it, maybe solid half, but if you can move it, then you're controlling it and you're summoning it. Right? That's how magic works.
In its most basic form, I suppose.
Well, I still feel good about knowing that bit.
Okay.
You can't maybe feel not good about it.
I wouldn't want you to not feel good about it. I just want you to not live a misinformed life. It's my duty to illuminate darkness and lies.
I appreciate that. That's a real thing.
Lefkadia, how are you doing?
I'm well. I'm ready to get this show on the road.
Yeah. I imagine it must be a nice change of pace for you to just be told what to do, not have to try and figure things out.
I mean, we still had to do a little bit of that, but good thing you're around to figure things out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like it, but you're good at it.
I'm curious, because I've never actually asked you this question, but how long ago did you form your bond with Nabanian, or your pact, or whatever it is?
Probably about 10 years ago, give or take.
Quite a long time.
I was a young man, yeah.
And it wasn't until just recently, maybe very recently, in fact, that you actually had this tete-a-tete, as it's referred to in places that speak a different language.
Well, he normally we normally commune in my sleep. He'll visit me from time to time and instruct me with how to do things, but that's really all it is. It's him telling me how to do things and not exactly what to do. So I haven't had much direction other than the teachings that I've grown up with. The actual physical manifestation in front of me was certainly something I'll never forget. He came and he gave me this thing, and if there's one thing that I know is that I can't fail this particular mission, because this is the one that he's blessed me with. He says, all right, here is the tools, this is your objective, and I've never had such a clear path laid out before me, so I'm really excited to take down this dragon.
Good. I'm glad you're feeling great about it. I don't know that I'm excited, but I'm glad to have all of you with me on this mission. And by all of you, I mean everybody. Where are the other two guys?
About this time, Taslin and Wampum show up.
Well, we got the Skelly boys set, good to go. The bad thing about it, it's going to take 3 days. We got the weapons. They'd be at the armor smith getting properly equipped.
Okay.
But it's going to take 3 days.
And then we also got this very large sword
I see that.
for Gerald.
How did you get that down here? That's
I
I'm
dragged.
impressed. You dragged it. You dragged it.
Yes.
Yes,
I am surprisingly strong, if I don't say so myself.
I'm very proud of you.
I'm a little disappointed, actually, that you didn't have some sort of magic. That you
And
could
waste a
use.
spell slot?
I don't know what you mean by that, but
Lot?
it's probably a Shadowfell thing. I don't know.
Okay.
So, okay, fine. You dragged it down here. That's great. Who is that for? Who's going to use that?
The Nightwalker.
All right.
And I know you're going to have issues, but let me just convey my thoughts before you shoot it down.
And Wampum kind of backs up from this conversation.
Neuron Vein is a large dragon. Gerald is a large Nightwalker. We can use Gerald to take the brunt of the attacks from the dragon for a while. However, as last we learned from fighting Neuron Vein, he is resistant to some of my more potent magical spells. As such, a giant sword for a giant Nightwalker gives it a little bit more potency.
All right. Just a thought. So I remember you explaining before that shadow dragons they used to be mundane dragons that spent a bunch of time in the Shadowfell and became inured to its effects in some way, right? And dragons are reasonably intelligent creatures. I assume they'll probably know what a Nightwalker is and what it can do. And it may wind up being more detrimental for us to have the Nightwalker there than it would be for him.
I'm not sure about that. Kel, do you remember when you were paralyzed in that fight?
Very clearly, yes.
I don't believe a shadow dragon may be they're resistant, but I did do damage with my blight spell last we fought.
Mm-hmm.
So he is not entirely made of the Shadowfell.
My point is, if I remember when the Nightwalker was nearby, I remember feeling as though it exuded an aura of death, something bad. Didn't feel good. I wonder if that something it can turn off, or is it something?
It can't, but it does have. I assume that if we stay far enough away from it, i.e., those of us that can use ranged weapons like a throwing axe that also has fireball abilities, or spears or magical spells, that it at least lets us injure Neuron Vein before he gets in our face like last time.
And how long do you think it would take him to get into our face?
I'm not sure.
I think a dragon of his size, age, ability, could probably move pretty quickly. Especially within its own layer. It probably knows the layout a lot better than we do. I don't believe the Nightwalker can fly, correct?
I could cast fly on him.
And if it were engaged in a melee with Neron Bane, then the other 3 members of our party, basically here, who usually do the same thing, they engage in a melee with the enemies, that they won't be able to do that safely with this aura of death and destruction that as you said, he can't disable.
That is true. But I do feel it's a resource that we can use to some degree. Perhaps not in the fight, but perhaps to cover a escape route that Neron Bane may use to run, as he did last time.
Perhaps. Maybe we'll
Because
see if we
I
can
do
scout
not
it
want
out,
him to
so.
escape again.
Sure. Yeah, so we'll get up there, we'll scout it out, and we'll see if there's some sort of escape route that we can figure out before we get in there.
That sounds like a good plan.
If there is, then sure. Also, other point, slight change of subject. What'd you do with your animated skeletons?
I buried them
Where'd you bury them?
in the woods.
Okay. Just curious.
Well, I couldn't necessarily let them walk through the city.
No, I have no more to say on the subject. I was just curious what you did with them. Is everybody ready to leave now?
I mean, do I need some spears now, or?
We might, but like I said, we can talk about it in Waterdeep.
Okay.
So, you, how do you typically use this teleportation option available to you through your membership with the Harpers?
So, like, we all have these rings that, well, except for Nos now.
I don't think. Do we still have rings? I thought we actually got them on our skin.
Yeah, I thought
Did
we
we?
got a tattoo.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
We've got both. Someone just said they didn't want a tattoo. I don't remember who it was, but we initially got a ring when we were friends of the Hoppas, and then when we saved the Hoppa HQ in Neverwinter, they said, "Hey, you guys want to be full-fledged members? Here's a tattoo." Yada yada yada.
Okay. We have some sort of symbology on our bodies somewhere that shows that we're members. And so basically they have it's like a teleportation room, Star Trek style. Like, just go in and you're like, beam me up, and then somebody beams you up. And they have a network that I believe it's from one of the adventures, I think probably from Elemental Evil or Storm King's Thunder. I don't know, one of those things. Where there's like 5 circles. I don't remember where all of them are, but I know one's in Neverwinter and one's in, Waterdeep. So.
Waterdeep. Okay. Beam me up, Harpy. Yeah. So, so they are aware that Nos is a member, even though you have lost your ring and your tattoo.
Oh
Or is
yeah.
this- okay.
They've seen me walking along with the High Harper on several occasions.
I was gonna say, I feel like at this point it's well established who you are. All right, yeah. So you are able to gain access without issue. No one really asks what mission you are on in particular. As Harpers have structure, of course, but it's not regularly that they would be questioning members per se. And you're able to continue on as you see fit, and make use of the room as you are due by being members.
All right. Bloop. We're in Waterdeep.
Mm-hmm. What does it look like when you all use the teleportation circle?
I always imagine blue fire, because that's very much what happened in the second Sundering. Is everything happened with blue fire, and so there is a precedent out there for spatial magic to have a blue flame effect.
I like it. How do you activate it?
We don't. They do.
They do? Okay. So, you all step onto the teleportation circle, and the person manning it for the day.
And you notice that Wampum is always the last one. Wampum always checks to make sure everything's in place. And then when he steps on the teleportation circle, he closes his eyes and grits his teeth.
All right, very
Yeah.
well.
Because the first time we ever did this, Wampum and Kale were the last two people left, and Wampum told Kale he was afraid because he never teleported before, presumably. And Kale's like, "That's natural. It's fine. You'll be okay." But here you go, and he just shoves him into the portal.
Oh no. That's the quickest way to get over a fear, right? It's just throw
Throw him
somebody
in the
into
deep
it.
end.
Mm-hmm. That literally happened to me at one point in my childhood. I'll tell you a story sometime. So yeah, so you all step on. Wampum is last, of course, and double, triple checking everything, and they initiate the the beaming sequence. No, I'm kidding. And this blue flame curls up and around and creates this sort of like wall around you, and you just kind of feel this like radiant energy pressing against you and then releasing, and you are at the teleportation circle in Waterdeep.
And then Wampum checks to make sure everything is there, including his hands and his nose, and make sure everything is still connected.
Everything seems to be in order.
It's all there, Wampum, I assure you. So, shall we... I mean, we could do another planning meeting at Taslin's place, I suppose, if it's...
Oh,
we could check on that.
Yes, let's go to my house that I purchased.
Tell us about the house that you purchased, Taslin.
It's 2 stories and has a basement, and I don't think Taslin has furnished it at all whatsoever. And Taslin filled out the paperwork and then left to go adventure. So all the paperwork was being processed, and he'd already paid paid for the house up in full. And then he got blackout drunk because he was like, I don't want to deal with the Shadow Queen or the Raven Queen, and he sent a message to Raziel, was too drunk to remember what he said, woke up the next door, and he had written how housing should be free for everyone in the world, and he'd put it on a bureaucrat's door, nailed it into their office door, and passed out right in front of it. And so the bureaucrat was like, "Yo, what's up, man? It's 8 in the morning. Get off my steps." And Taslin may or may not have given him a bribe, and then gotten tossed in jail, and then paid the 2 gold fine, and is now back in good standing.
That's a heck of a whirlwind. I love it. Okay, so yeah, you can head off to your house. Do you have did they give you the key, or do you have to go get that?
I think Taslin probably has to get the key, so he probably is I'll meet you there. Here's the address, and he'll sprint off to get the key.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just deduct 50 gold and say that's furnishings that he'll make other people deliver.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you go to the place of business where you actually purchased it from in the first place, and they did offer that as a service, but you weren't interested in it at the time. So they'll make arrangements with you. Of course, they won't be able to bring everything by today. They have to reach out to their contacts and make arrangements for having everything delivered. But within a week, you should have. Which sort of furnishings are you looking for?
I don't know. I never drew up the schematics for how many rooms it was, but I assume it would have enough rooms for everybody in the gang, because that's kind of why I bought it. But he'd want enough beds, moderate beds of moderate quality, some chairs and a table, and and then that's probably it. I don't think he needs much. I think he's a minimalist.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, easily they can have the sort of basics, maybe a cooking a cooking pot over a fireplace sort of thing, so you have a place to make your meals.
Freeze home style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Make it just barely livable. Some sort of restroom system, whatever that looks like in this sort of a world. Yeah, they can do that. It'll take the better part of a week, and so over the course of the next 7 days, you'll slowly start to see the beds come in first, and then the tables come in after that. So you probably won't have anything day one, but in throughout the course of the week, you'll be able to get all that situated. Mm-hmm.
And he's totally going to buy. Oh man, I think it's 10 gold worth. Yeah. He's going to buy 10 gold worth of tiny silver spoons and a miniature portal carved from ivory, which is worth 5 each. So I guess he's going to buy 2 of that, so he can cast Mordencannon's mansion while in his own house.
Okay, that's perfect. I love it. Yeah. So do you leave so they had the offer to give you 2 keys basically. Do you leave one with them so that they can deliver stuff while you're away, or do you want to make specific drop off times and stuff like that?
I think he'd let them have a spare key.
Okay. And they'll return it to you once they're finished furnishing the
Yeah.
house. Okay. Yeah, so easy enough to make those arrangements, pay for it, stop by at a market and grab. I mean, in a big city like this, there are people who know what components are needed for spells, and I'm sure since you have a home here, you probably have been shopping in this area before and know exactly where to go. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah. So you're easily able to pick that sort of stuff up, and it takes them about half an hour to get caught up with the rest of you as you're able to just kind of make it straight there. Have any of you ever been to the house before? Or did he just give you directions? All right, so you guys, whoever would like to lead the way, need to make either survival or investigation, whichever
Investigation.
Investigation.
I got 25.
Yeah. The city is pretty familiar to you, and even though you aren't exactly sure where he particularly lives, you are given a general address and directions well enough that you're able to make it there easily. So, yeah, Taslan comes 20, maybe 30 minutes behind after he's sorted all these things out and made his purchases. And you all, what were you doing while you're waiting for him?
Number 1, I would like to cast a sending spell to one of the Harpers that I know, that some nameless NPC, doesn't have to be anybody in particular, but somebody back in Neverwinter, and tell them that there's some skeletons buried outside of town in this direction in shallow graves. Just go take them apart real quick, because we're not going to be back to get control over them anytime soon.
Now, per the spell, question for you, Taslan.
Yeah.
Do they regain autonomy after the 24-hour period, or do they just
Well, I think it's a little bit different because they're not technically undead. They're more of the spirits that are on loan by the Raven Queen.
Right.
The creature is under your control for 24 hours, after which it stops obeying any command you've given it.
All right.
That's all it says. So, I mean,
yeah. So, you receive a reply back. Of course, they only have 25 words, so they say, "We'll take reinforcements. We'll let you know how it goes." Essentially, we'll check in once we've completed this, and thanks for letting us know. So there's not just 4 skeletons wreaking havoc on passersby.
Yeah, 4 Shadowkai spirits just chilling.
Yeah, whatever.
Other than that, I mean, we'll just what are we just sitting outside the house? We don't have a key. Just kind of standing there looking around.
I would like to. Ooh. Yeah, okay. I would like to turn to Wapham and say, "What do you think, javelins or crossbow?"
Javelins. I say javelins.
They don't hurt very much. I've been stabbed by a javelin. It's really not that bad.
Yeah, but with your arm behind it.
All right. I trust you.
I was just going to say that I love how this city is laid out like a grid. It's really difficult to get lost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful.
The city planning was excellent here.
What's the neighborhood like?
Taslan, what's the neighborhood like that you... Did you purchase a fine house in the nice quarter of the city?
I think Taslan purchased it in the trade district, if I haven't forgotten. I think Taslan didn't want it in the slums. He just wanted it moderate, commoners neighborhood. Unseeming, inexpensive.
Okay. So it's in this sort of oh my gosh, what's the word? The like living district of the trade district. So of course there's like the area where there are more like shops and businesses. Yeah, residential. Thank you. Oh my god, I was like, it's like urban. Everything is urban here. That's the wrong word. Yeah, so it's in like the sort of residential portion of the trade district. There are it's not quite as bad as the sort of like houses made of ticky-tacky sort of housing development that you'll see in a lot of places in the real world, but it's definitely like rows of houses all equally portioned. Some are one story, some are two story, and it's very like there's a lot of movement in this area, but it's like people going about their daily business, heading off to their jobs, plying their trades, that sort of a thing. And since it is in the afternoon, there's a fair bit of traffic as people are sort of heading home after the early workers, I should say, are heading home. And people who tend to work more nighttime type jobs, taverns and such, might be on their way to work. So it's pretty hustle and bustle right now. And Taslin meets up with you if nobody does anything else in the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'll wait.
Okay.
All right. I'll stride right up and unlock the door for the first time and push it open.
Yeah, so you open the door and everything looks like it's been well kept while you were gone. They did take the effort of making sure that everything was dusted until you actually arrived, since you hadn't picked up the keys yet. They didn't want you to be overly disappointed. So you open into like a typical like living room type of main room in a house. Often there's like a walled off area in the back, which looks like it probably would be where the cooking would happen. And this is just big and square open space with like a fireplace in the background, and then there are stairs in the opposite corner of where the cooking area would be that lead up. And did you happen to like discern specifically whether or not the basement has like stairs down or like a trap door or anything
I think
like
it's
that?
stairs down.
Okay. So in the go ahead.
And I kind of envision it like kind of like a soil basement for a small degree. And I mean, not to bury bodies or anything, maybe, but just more of a natural, earthy kind of feel. And I think Taslin, after he walks in, immediately shuts the door on his companions and casts the Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion when he sees like it's not furnished. So then a door appears where like in the same space that the door is, and he like opens it up just as he finishes the spell. So it looks like it's just a regular door, and then he like opens it for them to walk in.
I love it. So if the rest of you will go ahead and make a quick perception check for me.
Lost that one. Let's see. 21.
Okay. Anyone else? Just glancing through the door as Taslin walks in and closes it in your face.
Oh, I got a 2.
A 2. Oh, good.
25.
And then an 11.
I went to the gym.
Okay. Nice. So Kale and Lafcadio, as Taslin opens the door and then it darts in and closes it in your face, you get the like barest glimpse of like a stone wall. It looks well kept. It's clean and everything. The light is kind of streaming in, and so there's nothing incredibly remarkable about it. But then he closes the door in your face, and you're like the air rushes at you, and it takes a full minute to cast that spell, I believe. So you're all standing there for a solid minute. Do you do anything in that minute while he's inside?
Taslin, what? Are you okay?
Wampum would kick the door down.
Well, I don't believe he locked it. So
I don't think Taslin even locked it.
yeah. So you could kick it in, or you try. Okay, all right. Go ahead and make a athletics check for me.
It's only a 13.
It's only 13.
I rolled a 3.
Oh no. So you give it a good solid kick, and you feel it like jar under the weight of your kick, but you weren't something within you must have held you back because you really just didn't want to break your acquaintance friend's new door, perhaps, maybe, and it just didn't hit quite as solidly as you were hoping. But it was a door, and you're a strong individual, so there was definitely like a jarring sort of sound, and you hear this Tazlin, and you finish up your spell and are able to open the door. And tell us what your mansion looks like.
Yeah, so I would Wampum be going like for another kick?
Wampum, I think, would forego his kick and put his shoulder into it.
Okay, so I want to imagine Wampum going about to charge and Tazlin opening the door at the same time, and you see this open door for the magnificent mansion. It's a vast ballroom, maybe because I can go 500 feet total. So it's a 100 feet by 70 feet ballroom with a banquet, long tables. It's got butlers and maids that are ethereal, just kind of carrying trays of expensive foods. And then rooms off to the side. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on in.
Okay. Thank you. He'll kind of gives him a look, and you can tell from his tone that he knows his, Tazlin shenanigans, but he'll let him have this one. This is a very nice house. Wow, you must have spent a lot of money on this.
Oh, of course. Nothing but the best for my companions and myself.
Oh.
I should probably roll a deception check.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, you can definitely roll it. Anyone who would like to roll insight, who would like to discern whether or not this is the truth.
I mean a 3.
You don't even have to roll insight. All of you are just kind of it's almost like he's not actually trying to hide it. Go ahead.
We have stayed in the mansion before, though, right?
Yes, but it looked different.
Did it? Okay.
Because last time you guys were in it, Tazlin had the servants were his former adventuring party who had died, and they all had the resemblance of the people that got killed by his brother. And they are not them this time. Tazlin has kind of forgiven himself for that, so he moved on with his life.
Maybe it's in different decor too, so it's not the same exact room, just with 100 spectral servants that look different.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so if you would like to eat, you can all sit down to the banquet. I think this is a good time for us to take the break. Go ahead and get our water, get our stretch in, all that stuff, and then we'll reconvene after that time has passed. Hello, everyone. Welcome back from break. I hope you got some water or something else to drink, perhaps. What do we do when we come back? Introductions again, right? Or we just jump right in?
Right back into it.
All right, let's jump right back in. So Tazlin has opened the door. He has indicated that this is what his home actually looks like, but you're all not idiots. And so you've noticed that not only is it too big, even though some things are bigger than the inside, but he almost wasn't even trying to hide it. It seems like that he was just outright lying about this. So you do see a grand ballroom in front of you. There are doors and servants' exits off to the sides of the room, and there is a massive banquet table. Are you going full 9-course for 100 people?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah,
it's the grand opening of Tazlin's house.
Yeah, not only are there crudita and finger foods and stuff already out, but there are just a row of spectral servants laying down what is the first course of what you will soon find to be a 9-course meal. And there are several places set even that no one's even eating at, so if you so choose, you could probably eat for several people for a 9-course meal if you would like. What do you all do?
Wampum will grab plates from either side of him.
And it says I can have up to 100 servants. So there are 100 servants.
What are you ordering all the servants to do? Oh, go ahead.
After you, Scott.
This is really nice. I appreciate the fare, and I sit down and I start eating.
this. Well, it's the least I can do considering last time we fought this dragon, we all almost died.
Aye, we did.
It's not going to be like this time. It's not. It's just not.
It's just not. I agree.
This
No,
whole,
there are things in place.
this whole heart can't take that again.
It's not going to happen. At least if I die again, I'll take you with me. How's that?
Ideal.
So is the plan to get a good night's rest and then just head out north overnight, or when we wake up?
I think we should discuss our plan, or at least a rudimentary plan, now while we have all this food and drink, and
Exactly
then
what I was
adjust
doing.
accordingly. Yes.
So is that
Sure.
the plan? We go out in the morning and just walk north.
That is currently the plan, yes. I'm going to go drop some of my stuff off first before I sit down to eat. So I will be back in like 12 or 13 minutes, however long it takes me to ritual cast some stuff. So you guys discuss it. I will join you shortly. And Kale's going to go walk off or he'll be directed, I assume, to a room. And servants will take off all of his gear and set it down nicely for him and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've each been assigned like several servants. One is standing there ready to pour you food. One is standing with like a tray for the next course whenever you're finished, and the others are just waiting to see what it is that you need help with. So they'll guide you to wherever Teslin has decided your room is, and
Yeah,
they'll
all
help
your
you.
bedrooms are like, you know when you see like Hollywood stars and they have like a star on the door and it has your name? It's all like embossed in the doors.
Right.
I love it.
Love it, yeah. So that all happens, and then Kale tells him to get out of here, go away. But nicer than that. And he is going to he's going to get out his crystal ball from the bag of holding, and he will attempt to scry on Neron Vane.
Okay. You are familiar with it, which I know affords like a penalty to their roll.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a piece of them or
I do
memorabilia?
not. That's
Okay.
not what I'm aware of.
Okay. So what is the penalty to the roll?
So he gets a -5 to his save. It's a DC 18.
Oh, critical fail. So, I don't know how you might have done scrying before, but I like to think of it as kind of like reaching out and making a connection, not a connection, but like establishing a link of some kind with this other creature. And so you feel your sort of like the essence of your being kind of like drawn up. Not that you're fully astral projecting or anything, but you're kind of like lifted and your consciousness floats away upon this like tether that you've established. And you are able to kind of almost like a little bit of like this essence of soaring through the sky, and then you see this vision of looking down in a very, very dark room. Do you have night vision? Yes, because you're yes. So it's almost in black and white. Like it's not quite full darkness, so that you have to see in black and white, but it's just on the very edges of that. And you actually see a human-looking figure sitting at a table, and it's almost wreathed in shadow, and it's just kind of like this darkness just kind of floats around it. And they're reading a book, and you can't make out what exactly the book is that they're reading. And what exactly does scrying tell you? Their general location?
So I can see and hear through the sensor. It creates a sensor within like 10 feet of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's invisible. And I can see and hear through it as though I were there, and it moves with them if they move.
Okay.
So.
Actually, if it's within 10 feet, can you see writing from 10 feet away? Probably an elf could, huh?
I definitely couldn't. Vinny can't, because I'm supposed to be wearing glasses. But sure, I
Yeah,
would
like, what
like
is
for an
normal?
elf to be able to do it.
What does normal eyesight mean? What
Right.
languages do you know?
Abyssal, Celestial, Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, Gnomish, Goblin, Orc, and Sylvan.
Surprisingly, one of the few languages you are unfamiliar with It seems to be, or maybe it's just so far away that you can't exactly make out what it is that they're reading. But it's this humanoid figure, long dark hair, black clothing, very kind of like edgelordy looking, just sitting with a cup of some sort of dark liquid in front of them that they're casually sipping on as they read this book. After a time, if you watch them for a few minutes, they might get up and go and put this book away, and you see a bookshelf sort of like up against this sort of really natural-looking stone wall, or maybe like the side of what would be a cave, and they retrieve another book and go and they sit down at this table and begin looking for a specific page and then reading through something.
I see.
I'm not there. Unless Swampum just like grabbed a leg and just like walked
into yeah. Gil disappeared for a few moments. You guys are all eating or what have you. And you said, does it tell you the location or no?
It does not specify that.
Okay.
No location for sure. Okay, so it's just a dude sitting there reading a book. A couple books and drinking darkness. Cool.
Well, it looks like a deep red liquid, like might be wine or something along those lines.
Blood. Okay.
Blood.
That's funny. Okay, I do that for like 10 minutes, the full amount of scrying I can get. Is there any other details about the room that I should know?
As they get up and they move around, it becomes very apparent that this is a very natural-looking, rocky wall with what appears to be an earthen floor. It looks like these items that they are interacting with have been moved into this space. After a few minutes, how long does the spell last?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. After a few minutes, they've flipped through a few books. You're nearing on the last few minutes of this sort of spell, and they get up and they walk out and they exit out of. It's not even closed off like a door. It just looks to be like the mouth of a cave, and they descend. It would be a staircase, except it's really just a series of rocks that are fairly easy to step down into a sort of big open area with more of that natural-looking rock wall and natural rock flooring. It looks like there is some small side like pockets that has been formed in this, maybe underground or at least like within the stone structure of this natural cavern-looking thing space, that there's another greater area that it opens up into. And as they walk around, you do see a big open entrance on the side, but there is it is roofed. There is not an open top, but there's a big open entrance on the side, and you catch just the glimpse of looking down over the side of a mountain as the 10 minutes pass and the spell fades.
Okay. Looking over some mountains. Just from that glimpse, I mean, so I've walked the road before, and we walked past, presumably, the area where Nerevain's lair was. Would I have recognized any of those mountains, maybe?
Do you have the Keen Mind feat?
I don't.
You don't?
Not yet.
Not yet. For Kale, do you think that this would be more of a like nature-y sort of check, or more of like a history sort of check? What do you think would be most what he would use to commit the terrain to memory? Is this more of like a scholarly approach to it, where you document general landscapes, or is it more of like having an attunement with, not attunement, but an awareness of the way that like geography can create mountains, plateaus, flats, plains, etc.?
Probably that second one. Like he's equally intelligent and wise, I suppose, but he tends to lean more on his wisdom, I think, in general.
Okay.
So it would be more of like a just
nature survival type check.
Yeah.
So pick nature or survival, whichever you think would be best.
They're all the same, actually. It's all
okay. Mechanically, it's the same.
Yeah. So I rolled a 17 plus 6 is 23.
Okay. And you've walked the path north, you said. So as you catch this glimpse of looking down over the mountain, you see down at the base of it a series of smaller peaks. And there's almost like not a sea of them, but there are several. There are several smaller peaks, 6, 7, 8. And you see off in the distance what you recognize as the shape of the town of Waterdeep. So you're able to determine that this is one of the peaks in the Sword Mountains.
Okay. So I basically, I have a heading, kind of. I don't know. Exactly. Okay. That's good enough.
So in character, he would be aware that, due north is a forest, but northeast is a little mountain range. And there are several smaller peaks, and then there's sort of the larger portion of the range behind that. And it's going to be somewhere up in that larger area.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds great. Before I leave, I will also try and sending spell Vajra, the Black Staff. I believe that was her name, right?
Who is it?
The Black Staff. What's her name? Vajra?
Yeah.
Right? I got that right?
Yeah.
Casey, yeah. Okay.
I don't remember who you're talking about, so you'll just have to tell me.
It's basically... Well, Casey probably knows better than me.
Oh, okay. But I don't know if I do. But I will tell you anyway, it has landed upon me. The Black Staff is like the arcane paterfamilias. Materfamilias?
The father?
No, the mother, honestly. The chosen of
Pater.
Mistra that is not Elminster. And she lives at the top of a big old tower in Waterdeep, and she's a huge deal. The original Black Staff was this dude, and the Black Staff, side note, is actually a Black Staff. So the person that wields the Black Staff is Black Staff, and that's the arcane law in Waterdeep.
Okay.
I say law loosely because there isn't a written set of stuff, just Vajra's word is law, essentially.
Gotcha.
Oh, she's a good person. Weird, but good.
Arcane, We be
Basically,
weird sometimes.
The head mage in Waterdeep or something like that.
Yeah. The authority. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, Kale's met her before, and he dropped off, this artifact with her that was, super evil and could destroy the whole world with a storm, but we're not going to talk about that right now. He sends to her, and he asks her if, has there been any new news on Neron Bane, the Shadow Dragon I definitely told you about before?
You do, after a few moments, receive a response back. And she says, there have been stories of sightings in the mountains. A peak is wreathed in shadow at twilight and at dawn.
Cool. I give her a thumbs up, but there's just no way for her to know that.
You feel like somehow she probably understands that that's the intent there.
Okay.
Cool, good info.
Cool, that's it. I got all the info. We're done with the solo Kale stuff. He leaves. He gets out. He got a stone. I forget what it was called. It's
Is it
in
a type
here.
of stone?
It's a rock. It's a magic cleansing stone. He gets the cleansing stone and he just he rubs it around and it just makes him clean.
Nice.
And then he goes out.
People call that soap. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Right? Yeah. Really hard soap. He just he exfoliates before he goes out. And he joins everyone else, and who I imagine is sitting at the table. And he says, "All right, I got the info." And as he's grabbing plates, he basically shares all that same info with everybody else. I know basically where his lair is. It's kind of easy to find. Vajra said we can find it this way. And he's just in there reading books and drinking blood or something. So what do you guys think about that?
Well,
I'll take all ideas and thoughts while I'm...
How long is it going to take to get there?
Probably I don't know, a day or two. We got to do a lot of mountaineering.
Well, I can handle mountaineering.
I just want to check. I just want to check. We don't want to, like, there's no way at all that we could harness this guy for our own side, is there? Like, he's a totally lost cause.
Well, Taslan seems like he could control anyone.
I can assure you that is not the case.
Kale takes a second to swallow a whole bunch of food that's in his mouth, and he gives Nos like a very pointed look. He says, "No. He has committed a very grievous sin against Anir, and he will be punished."
He only, like, as far as the story goes, he sought y'all out because y'all were the ones that killed his person. His girlfriend?
I would say she was more of a thrall.
So I don't think that it was intentionally against Anir, and if we can get an enemy on our side that looks shadowy, it may benefit us in the greater battle.
And it's a good thing we already have a Nightwalker. And then Kale resumes eating as though he's done with this conversation.
I think what we need is more wine. More wine, anyone?
No. Wine is the cheap stuff. I want the good stuff, Taslan.
Of course. Some Thunderbelly ale for my dwarf friends.
Ye be talking correct now.
You 5 go get more.
The pitcher that was in the hand of the servant behind Wampum, it disappears in smoke, and a cask forms from the smoke that had, it had disintegrated into, and it just kind of reforms itself. And they lean forward and open the spigot.
Okay. I'm beginning to like this place, Taslan.
I know, it's so delightful here. But, on a more somber note, I think it's important to celebrate the time we have together while we're still together. I assume that since he was working with our enemies, with the Lady of Loss's minions, that we may not just be facing a dragon. I think it's reasonable to suspect that he will have allies present with him.
But this time, Taslan, we be fighting on our terms. We not be fighting on theirs.
Our terms, his lair.
Which sounds
no
very
crystals.
much like his terms.
I think I'm gonna pull out a bottle of the firebrand, and I'm just gonna start downing it. So much just happened in the last 5 seconds. So much was just said that I can't handle this.
Wampum walks over to Nos and, downs his Thunderbelly ale real quick, and then says, give me the strong stuff.
Pours it into your cup. One of the servants standing behind the two of you look, and the pitcher that they were carrying into smoke and reappears as a glass bottle with a cork, as if they're waiting to pour.
I don't think we trusted it.
Which is fine. That's just what they do. So you continue eating throughout the rest of the night?
At one point when Kale's done eating, while he's still at the table, he'll do this. He'll take out Nos's notebook. Well, his notebook that Nos gave him was like a blue notebook, and he will set it on the table and then set some incense in it somehow, like on the top of it, and then shoot a little firebolt at it, like finger gun stops, and light it. And then he will, I think he won't do the whole ritual. He's just going to do it as an action. He's going to cast a divination spell. And the book will just kind of like flare up with some light very briefly, and he will ask whatever god he has been put in contact with, or servant, a single question. It will be, should we expect Naramvane to have allies aiding him when we assault his lair.
And you were asking any god who will answer, not specifically Daenerys?
Well, he would be trying to reach out to Daenerys, but just the way the spell's worded, it doesn't say... It says you're put in contact with a god or a god servant, so it doesn't... I don't know. However you want to rule that.
Okay. The answer you receive... It sounds like a familiar voice. It's not the voice you last heard from Daenerys, but it's along the same tone, even though the sort of like timbre of it is a bit different. He has allies, and he has grown in power. You would do well not to underestimate him. But he is reclusive and spends time alone.
Okay. Yeah, he might have some people helping. I'd say about a 85% chance there's going to be more things there. I think we definitely have to take this very seriously.
So that would mean that the spellcasters be at full power instead of half this time.
Correct.
I'm just bringing the topic up.
All right, so you're taking point on this one. I'll go golden and follow up.
So we be taking a long rest before we be going in.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Correct.
Right,
And
Dale?
that's right. And as far as I know, right now, he has no reason to believe that we will be there anytime soon.
Yeah, they don't know you've scryed on them, right? That's not something that they realize unless they pass, perhaps.
So, I mean, like, they don't, like, innately know it, but the way it's worded is it says it creates an invisible sensor, right? So if somebody had the ability to see invisible sensors somehow, then
Like
they
if
might
they had true
spot
sight.
it.
Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
All right, go ahead, Wampa.
I'm just saying I'm not complaining at all. I'm just saying that we be kind of weak the last couple combats and we be getting our ass kicked. I don't think that it'd be a good idea for you spellcasters going in half-ass. Because the last two times we got our ass kicked. I don't want to get me ass kicked again.
I don't disagree. Last fight we went into, I was down to very little spells.
Yes, you were.
I also got stabbed several times because everyone ran away from me and they walked up to me.
So I'm just saying, we be prepared this time, correct?
I suppose so, and if we remember correctly, this dragon can see through invisibility, or I suspect as much.
I would suspect so. He'd be powerful enough.
And he did hit me last time and I was invisible. What is our escape plan if this goes poorly?
As always, I can prepare the prayer of recall. Everybody just gets within 5 feet of me and then we leave.
If there's going to be allies, if the dragon has minions or whatever, do you think it would be possible to lure them out?
If we do it correctly, I think me and Nas can take care of the so-called trash.
Well, isn't the standard operating procedure to get everybody's attention on us, including the trash and the dragon, and they take out the trash?
I understand that, but I would much rather prefer the trash come first.
Perhaps if we utilize the Nightwalker to take care of the trash away from all of us and cause a big enough scene, it will allow us to confront Neuron Vein without interference.
I'd much rather take care of the, so there be no little hornet stinging me in the behind while we be taking care of Nervain.
Taislin, I do have a question about your control of the Nightwalker.
Of course.
How is it that you're able to do that?
Long years of study.
Is it possible that anyone else could do the same thing?
It is very possible that another necromancer could use that ability or power to take control of him.
So if you brought the Nightwalker and they had a powerful necromancer, it's possible that we could then also be fighting a Nightwalker. Is that right?
That is true. However, I believe if they have a necromancer that is powerful enough to do this in their ranks, we have larger concerns.
Well, exponentially larger if they come into possession of a Nightwalker.
That is true.
I think, given the nature of the enemies we are fighting, it would be a very good idea to not utilize the Nightwalker at this time.
That's fair.
Good.
My thoughts are I would rather use all resources we have so that you all live a little bit longer than not use them and have all of you die.
Well, that's, as we're saying, that particular resource, say you're playing Dragon Chess, and the enemy has the ability to capture your Dragon Queen, right? And not just destroy it, but bring it over to their side. Now they have two. And you're at a much more severe disadvantage than you would have been had you just left the queen out.
That's true.
All right. So,
What the hell ye be all talking about?
Magic stuff. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
so it seems like we are in favor of dropping the element of surprise if we can bring out the allies first. Is that right? If we could separate them?
Sounds reasonable.
We be talking about Nervain. I don't think there'd be no surprising.
He will know where we're coming.
All right, so then we find out where the cave is. We set up Kale's big church, and we just wait for someone to come knocking. Is that?
I mean, we do know him. We could harass him with sending spells if we really wanted to.
I'm sure Kale would love nothing more than to just keep on sending spells.
I'm gonna stop preparing that prayer. I'm gonna just stop.
Lafcadio, may I see your net?
Oh, this one?
Oh, I don't believe I identified it when we were visited by Nobel.
Oh, you think it's got something on it? Here.
I'll identify the net.
Okay. Are you casting it ritualistically or just?
I am going to cast it ritualistically.
Okay.
Actually, I'll burn a level 1 slot. Why not? It's almost the end of the day.
Okay.
Expender.
Yeah. And also, since this is a short rest, I'm assuming, I can also use the Arcane Tradition, and I'll get back all my other level 1 slots to burn for sending.
Yep, so you cast it, you're holding the net in your hand, you cast the Identify spell, and again, it's difficult to tell what spell created it. There is a magical effect on it, and you are able to discern that when a creature is impacted by the net, either by touch or by being covered in it, that it does additional radiant damage.
I do believe this will do additional radiant damage when you Not radiant damage. That's a holy.
It will call holy flame on
Magic?
your enemies.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
neat.
don't really understand radiant magic.
Great.
You can have it back. Here.
Great.
Thanks, mate.
So is that plan you proposed where we try to draw Narenvain out of self? I don't see why he would do that.
Are dragons vain creatures?
They can be, but they also have orders of magnitude longer lifespans than any of us. So it would be a simple thing for them to just wait us out until we just are killed by the ravages of time.
It's true, and as far as we know, he may believe we are all dead. And that his mission of eradicating us in spirit soaring was successful.
Mm-hmm.
I do still, just a fun little, gonna throw this in there, I still have that pick that can destroy mountains.
What is this? Tell me about this.
I have Iron Fang, which is a legendary war pick supplied in Princes of the Apocalypse. I think it's Shatter that is its big damagey deal. Is that right?
I'll look it up.
I'm familiar with the Shatter spell. Yeah.
No,
I'm
it's
assuming
like
it's in your character sheet.
You can speak Terran fluently. You have resistance to acid damage. You have tremor sense out to a range of 60 feet. I'm not attuned, by the way. These are attunement things. You can sense the presence of precious metals and stones. You can cast the Dominate Monster as long as it's on an Earth Elemental. Shatter, yes. 3 charges of Shatter. And then if you want to go ahead and use it full force, DM willing, there is a possibility of doing something called a Devastation Orb, and essentially making a time bomb. And that's the thing that could potentially destroy a mountain. But the downside is that I would have to attune to it, and I do believe that the entire party knows at this point that that is not a good weapon.
Wampum does not care. A weapon is a weapon.
Taslim doesn't get a say. It's been possessed by numerous magical items at this point.
Okay, here we go. Earth Orb with the Devastation thing. When this thing detonates, it is the subject... The area is the subject to an earthquake spell that lasts for 1 minute. For the purpose of the spell is cast on the turn that the orb explodes.
Golly.
Yeah.
Well, if you were to do that sort of thing, Nos, it would certainly negate any element of surprise we had.
It would, but we would potentially no longer have to deal with any kind of dragon layers. But on the other hand, we would need to get to that layer in order to get to his gold.
Exactly. And that's what I'm all about.
We do need that gold. So I guess we can't bury it.
You could. You just have to dig it back out.
Through a
It's
mountain.
a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Well, it will take us a couple days to hike up there, so we can work out more of the details of this plan on the way. And, circumstances could change what we would like to do before we get there. So I propose we just put a pin in it for now and pick this up in the morning after we've all had a nice rest.
Smartest thing you said all day.
I don't know if that's true, but thank you. Nice of you to say.
Well, I suppose we'll reconvene in the morning.
Great. I'll get up and walk away.
Yeah. Taslim will go to his room unless anyone stops to talk to him. And he has a little desk in there, and he's going to write a letter and with an envelope from his pack. And it's going to, on the front, say, "Don't open unless I'm dead. -T." And he's going to write a little letter to each of his companions. Put it in the handy haversack pouch.
Are you putting it in the one that everybody has a...
Yeah.
Okay.
I pull. As soon as I feel it, I pull the letters out. I'm like, oh, what is this? Don't open unless. Oh, okay. And I put it back in.
I would also like to do a thing at this point. I'm going to actually wait for everybody else to leave the room, and then I'm going to walk down the hall like I'm going to my room, but I'm actually going to take a left where I should have taken a right and head to Kale's room.
Okay. So if you're waiting for everyone else to leave, then what does everybody else do when they're ready to retire for the evening? Just around like sunset.
Wampum is going to eat and drink until he passes out at the table.
Go ahead and make a Constitution save. Let's see how long this takes.
I rolled a 5 plus 11, 16.
Okay. Yeah, you could do this for quite some time. You're a sturdy individual. Eating and drinking isn't exactly as harrowing as some of the things that you've experienced. So you'll still be there by the time that Nos would want to leave, but I feel like the way that the place is set up, you could still get away and make that turn where Wampum wouldn't necessarily notice that that's what you're doing.
He's pretty observant.
Wampum, yeah, my passive perception is 23.
Yeah, but if there's like
I'm just going to cheer her as she walks off, and then just continue eating and drinking until I pass out.
She's gonna give him a little salute at the top of the stairs there.
Lafcadio, what about you?
I just head up, go to sleep. I have had a very momentous day, so I'm just gonna, lay in bed, eyes wide open, just reliving it all.
Fair point. What about you, Kale?
He'd just be chilling. I guess he'd be writing in his notebook, just notes about the day.
Okay, so you go to your room and you sit down and you take out your notebook and your writing utensil and you begin to write. And Nos?
Yeah.
It's me.
Okay. Yeah, come in.
Okay. Open the door. Close the door behind you. Can I have a seat?
Sure. Yeah.
Sit on the ground. So Tazlin was talking tonight, and he was talking about how, well, you were talking about how, and then he was talking about how, and that we shouldn't underestimate what's about to happen, and that it may be just as difficult as the fight that we failed. Potentially. So I gotta tell you about something. It's not gonna be easy. I'm gonna preface it with the fact that I don't want to make your life any more difficult than it already is. I certainly don't want to make anything more difficult as a group. That being said, I feel like it is important to tell you before tomorrow that I she starts backing away a little bit. I may have developed feelings for you since I have returned. And you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to do anything about it at all, whatsoever. I just felt like I needed you to know before I died again, or you died again, or, And she can't look at him.
That took a lot, I'm sure. It was a very courageous thing for you to say and do. I don't know if there's a lot of things I don't know about myself, and I've never known, and maybe never will know. But I do know. He says, and he looks her like right at her face, where her face is, and he says, "Of all the terrible things that have happened in my life, I think probably the worst was watching you be enveloped by that shadowy breath attack and be killed in front of me. And have committed myself to having the power to make sure nothing like that ever happens again."
Well, I mean, you know, I'm flattered. I'm absolutely beside myself. But you know that's my job, right? It was ordained. I was hand chosen and selected to fight for the heavens. Like, that's, if I die on the material plane, that's planned.
I don't like it. I don't like it, and I'm not gonna let it happen again.
Well, I mean, what would you prefer?
You to not die?
Well, yeah, me too. It still hurts.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if someone's gonna die, let it be me.
Kel looks like he's gonna say something. He wants to respond to that, but instead he just walks over to her and just like hugs her really tight, and he just whispers, "Okay."
Yeah, she's diffused. She's incapable of doing anything for fear of anything she does is going to interrupt this and make it stop. And that's something that she's very against.
Well, eventually it has to, because that'd be weird.
Well, I mean, we could just fade to black.
You tell me if you would like to fade to black. I don't want to interrupt you.
I'd say eventually Kel pulls away and he like grabs her shoulders, like squeezes them, and says, "Luckily, we don't have to worry about any of this. Everything's gonna be fine.
Uh-huh.
You just have to have faith."
Oh, I see what you did there.
What did I do?
You're talking to the person with that does not have a problem with that. I have all the faith. It's just that I think that we're a little bit confused about. Never mind. Well, you know what you need to know. I can potentially die, preferably not die, potentially die happy tomorrow. Appreciate it.
Sure. Yep.
If I do die, I'll come back. Promise. You just do the voodoo over me that you do, and I'll be right back up.
Of course. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't. What did I? Thank you. I'll go back to my room now. I think.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
I'll retire to your separate rooms, except for Wampum, who eventually falls asleep, curled up on the table with a cask of ale in one arm and a huge, huge turkey leg in the other. Yes?
So since Tazin doesn't really need to sleep, after like 4 hours, I think Tazin will walk back out. He'll see Wampum like on the table, and he'll go back to his room and like grab a blanket, like put it over Wampum. And then he'll kind of sit at the table and just kind of wait.
And Kayla's a half-elf? half elf. So Taslin's the only one who doesn't need sleep then. All right, so what are you doing in the several hours it takes before they all complete a long rest?
I think Taslin will send Raziel like 3 times, because that's how many slots I've... Actually, I could do 4 technically. I'll send her 4 times. It'll be like instant messaging.
And this is after you wake up?
Yeah.
Okay.
And since she's on the Feywild, it has a chance to fail at 5%. Do you want me to roll 4 d20, and if I get a nat 1? Because that's still 5%.
Yeah, there we go.
A 7 and a 3, and a 3 and a 19. So no ones. And his first one will just be, hey, are you awake? I'm going to fight a shadow dragon. I might die, but it's okay. I'm keeping them safe. Love you. Or I love you. That'll be all 25.
Does she normally answer back when you message her?
I don't know.
When's the last time you tried this?
The last episode with Jazzy Hands, and we just kind of like, I was like, Taslin says this. And we didn't really pull that up.
And Taslin was drunk, too.
Yeah, and then Taslin was also drunk, but Taslin would know if she responded because it was blackout drunk.
Okay. A few moments pass after you send the first message. You might die?
Yes. We'll take up a slot. A word slot. But that's okay. I'll be back. Can't really die. It just takes time to return.
Is that something she would have known, or is this because of your, like, is this a class ability or a race ability?
Well, like, the way that Shadar-kai are kind of, like, in the books determined is, like, they're bound to the Raven Queen, so their spirits, when they die, they eventually kind of are returned to her service.
Okay.
Because they're all kind of bound with her divinity.
Gotcha.
So, I think she would probably know that.
Okay. Take care, Taslin. Don't take any unnecessary risks.
Me? Risks? Ha ha! I would never. I will visit you in the Feywild when I'm next able. How is the chieftain position working out?
Things have been interesting here, but this isn't a time for that.
You're right. I'll see you when I can. Watch out for other Shadar-kai. They serve the Lady of Loss. Protect shrines that hold divinity. Hopefully, things will go well. I'll see you soon.
You know where to find me? We will keep an eye out. Be safe.
And then Tassel will just sit there and wait, and he'll just, like, watch Wampum for, like, a solid 3 hours. Of, I think, not like a creepy watch, but, like, kind of like a parent watches, like, a sleeping child.
So these are all spell slots you burned after the long rest, or are you going to, like, trance yourself again while they are doing their thing?
He'll use an arcane recovery for this day, which was a short rest, and then he'll just get it all back.
Okay, perfect. Well, I don't know how wizards work, so you tell me why it made sense to cast 4 spells after you woke up. Now it makes sense? Okay, perfect. Not that that wouldn't be a thing that you, of course, could make the choice to do anyway. I was just making sure that I knew what was going on.
And I mean, they're level 1 spell slots, so I could have technically gotten, like, I think 7 levels, or 7 level spells back, so then he'll have his full slots, but he didn't get an extra 3.
Okay,
Sending's a 3rd level spell.
Yeah, that's why I was like, sending's a 3rd level spell, but...
Oh, you're right.
That's why
Right,
I'm
so
curious.
I get 2
Using it.
back. Yeah. So
Okay.
So I have 1 slot not used, or 2 slots not used. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I wonder if that type of wizard just is allowed to cast sending at a
No,
first level.
I'm just dumb. I was looking at my first level spells.
Gotcha. Okay. So then you're still just down 2 third level spell slots then?
Yeah.
Okay. Perf. Yeah, so 8 hours comes, everybody else wakes up. The table has been cleared except for a little circle around wampum where there's a blanket and a few pieces of food in a cask. And there are new foods and such about. You went to bed fairly early, so it is still dark outside. Not that you know until you go open a door and check, but given that you know you slept about the right amount of time, it's about like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh. What the hell is this blanket?
I don't know. Nos brought it out and put it on me.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah. She really does care.
So, today's a dragon?
I suppose so.
Are ye prepared?
As prepared as I'll ever be, I suppose.
Ye be full strength, right?
I'm down 2 spells, but it won't make much of a difference.
I ain't hearing no wizard saying I be down. We be needing your full strength, Taslim. You know that.
We will be fine with.
No.
I won't be summoning any undead, so we don't have to worry about that level of spell.
Let me tell you something, Taslim. If ye fall in this battle because you ain't got the spell to keep yourself alive, I'd be killing ye again.
That's how things go anyways. I'm sure I would never hear the end of it if I die.
I will follow ye to hell to make sure that you ain't heard the end of it.
We will be fine. I don't believe that this will hurt us. Plus, we have the time that we need to find his lair. It may be more than 1 day. I only need 4 hours of rest. I'm not too worried about this. But I appreciate your concern.
I know ye be an elf and all, but do me a favor, please. Please, I'm begging ye, I'm asking ye, be at full strength when we face the dragon.
I will.
Okay.
And if you die, do you want me to send anything to your family?
Nah, they got it all.
Right.
More than gonna be having the rest of it.
So who do you think is going to be the next to wake up?
I don't know, but I not be dying until that damn worm be dead.
Up the stairs, you just hear "It's a good day to die." boom, 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 boom.
Is that every day that Nas does that? Is that how she starts her day?
Well, when we know we're gonna be fighting something big, yeah.
So Tassin will have like the servants make eggs and like bacon and stuff like for breakfast.
I'm already in the mood. I'm just ravenous. I'm like, I'm an animal, a beast at this moment.
Yeah, surprisingly, there's more food than all of you could eat even in your wildest dreams. And it even seems like a challenge. How much food is there?
I'm up for this challenge.
Lafcadio comes down the stairs, and he starts grabbing stuff from the table. Let's go! Eat, just grab it and eat. We gotta get going. We got a dragon to kill.
Do you start to head out the door?
Yep.
Somebody's awful damn excited.
So Lafcadio, as you reach the entrance and you open the door and you begin to step out with this plate full of food, it disappears into smoke as you cross the threshold.
Deslam, what is this?
You can only eat the fruit while you're in the mansion. I mean, my house.
Do you want to come back in since you hungry now?
Come on, we're losing time. And I come back in and I just start stuffing my face.
So Kale eventually he shows up shortly thereafter, and he shoves a muffin in his mouth, and he says, "Hey, do you guys think that we could buy flag carpets here? This is Waterdeep."
I mean, I don't see why we couldn't. I know I'll pull out the ring of Featherfall that I bought last time I was in a city, or maybe like 3 times ago. Sorry, I don't remember. They all blur together. And I'll just go, it may not be harmful to also purchase these rings of limited Featherfall. As I understand, they're fairly common, but a dragon is more than likely to pick us up and try and drop us.
Well, if one of us could cast it, we'll be fine, right?
It's only limited to the will.
We shopped in Neverwinter. We shopped in Waterdeep. We got a dragon to kill.
You're right. I just wanted to know the only thing that can make our trip faster, which might be worth the time it takes to find them, would be magic carpets. 1 or 2 that could hold all of us. Or 3. So I'll ask around real quick as we're heading through the trade ward out the city. I'll just ask like random people, kind of like without slowing down very much. Like, is there a magic carpet seller anywhere?
So it was about 4 o'clock in the morning when you all woke up. You seem like you're kind of in a rush. The sun hasn't quite risen yet. Most of the people that you come across are closing up their, like, not closing up, but they're getting off their, like, nightly tavern shifts in the early morning. People are coming in to clean up. There are drunkards about. Go ahead and roll me a percentile die and then make an investigation check.
That's not a D10, that's a D8. Excuse me, pardon me. Percentile, I got 66. And then my investigation is 24.
24.
Mm-hmm.
So you're all walking through the streets. It's still not the dead of night necessarily, but it's still very, very early in the morning. It is still dark outside, and you're kind of asking anyone who seems roughly coherent as you're going through. And there's actually somebody who like has one cup in each hand and is leaning against a wall and is drinking out of one and looks at you. There are a couple of magic shops in town. Starts drinking out of the other one.
Where are the magic carpet sell? Do you know that any of them sell magic carpets?
I thought it was a tapestry, but it might have been a carpet.
Okay, so you don't know. I don't think he knows.
It was rolled up.
Okay,
I
thanks.
have a tapestry in a magic shop.
Maybe it just looked nice. Night. I don't know. So thanks for your help. Appreciate your effort. And then Kale presumes he thaumaturgies his voice 3 times louder. It says, "Does anybody sell flying carpets?"
At 4 in the morning, everyone is awake.
Are you in like have you headed? Are you on your way out of town? Have you gone through like Mercantile District? And you're yelling this. Like in that like where in the city are you right now when you're doing this?
So I imagine we probably would have gotten out of the Merchant District at some point. We'd be more like in the North Ward or maybe probably North Ward somewhere.
So make a perception check for me.
Damn it.
Anyone can do this. You all just heard him yell at the top of his lungs and also magically emphasized.
I got a 23.
Okay.
22. Waffle got 25.
Okay. Anyone who made over a 15, you hear maybe a block, maybe the other end of like this block, like a shutter slam open. And if you made above a 20, like you see a head poke out. and like disappear back in and close it. And there is a whole lot of like grumbling and mumbling in your general area, and there are a couple people that were like walking by. They're like, and you see in the general area where that shutter opened, like a light flickers on.
Kill.
Mm.
Go to the light to the left.
I mean, we're probably.
I think you'd be finding what you want.
We could just
I'm
also
going
be
to
making grumpy people wake up.
I'll go in if you don't want to.
Like that.
What was that, Tazlin?
I'll go in if you don't feel comfortable. Now that you've
No, I'll go do it.
committed.
He'll just like, I'll do it, and he just
Tessa will go in with.
goes over where the light is. Does it look like it's actually like an open shop or something, or is it just like a light in someone's window?
It looks like what has happened is somebody who is more familiar with the arcane or perhaps divine arts has cast a light spell on something inside of what is like a storefront that is under what either was their living quarters or maybe the office they were sleeping in. But it's the front of it just has like some arcane runes, and to normal people it would look really magic-y and you recognize these as runes, but it doesn't necessarily say anything important. But there's like a lightning bolt in the middle of it, so it's one of those like, this is obviously a magic shop type of things. And there's somebody sitting literally in their nightshirt, like rubbing their eyes with this light on, kind of like shielding it a little bit.
Looks like they need warm brown morning potion.
I just march on in there if the door's open, and I go, hello, sorry to wake you so early, but we are kind of in a hurry, and we are looking for means of faster transportation. Do you have flying carpets? I've heard that they exist, and I think I've seen people flying around them somewhere at some point.
Flying carpets. Yes, they exist. How many of you are in the room right now? Has everyone gone in?
Yeah, I did too.
Wampum's outside.
Aslan's in the room.
I'm pulling up the rear.
Okay, so there's 4 of you inside. Wampum is outside.
Wampum just sits on the stoop.
On the stoop. Okay. And they look at you, and then Taslin and Nas and Lefcadio and
And the
outside
dwarf
and-
outside, yeah.
through the glass they see. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
How much, pardon my rudeness, how much do you all weigh?
With gear and everything, probably a little bit over 200 myself. I don't know about the rest of them. Caleb gives his best estimate for everybody. He doesn't wait for everybody to figure it out for themselves. And it's
Smart
probably close to like, I don't know, I want to say... nobody's wearing heavy armor except Wampum. Nos has 2 or a glaive and some stuff, but nothing really spectacular. Probably like 700 pounds without the dwarf, and then the dwarf's probably another like 300 himself.
So about 1,000 if we do
Total.
combined weight and estimate up.
Have one that can carry you. Won't be fast.
What if we got 2?
Smaller ones I have would only take a couple of you.
But do you have multiple smaller ones that would go faster?
Smaller ones are a lot faster.
That's probably a good idea.
Could we rent them?
What about flying brooms?
Don't have any brooms.
So what if we were to get, say, 2 carpets, one for 3 of us and then another for 2 of us, of roughly the same speed, if we could.
Could fit 2 of the. And he kind of like looks around at all of you. Smaller ones on one. Put the rest on the big one.
Okay, that's fine. What's the price?
As I like apparently have every book except for my Dungeon Master's Guide. Wait, there it is. I'm like been trying to Google rare item prices this whole time, and I'm like failing miserably.
You've been doing great.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Let's see here.
The item prices are right before the list of magical weapons, magical items.
Okay, so 128. Let's see here. So rare. Makes sense. Cost, downtime, activities. Here we go. Rare. Rare item is 5,000 gold. So 2. So they're sitting there, rubbing an eye. They look like they've woken up a little bit. Rent?
Yeah, sure, rent. Yeah, we'll bring him back. I mean, Kale's sincere. He's not trying to trick him. He intends. He has every intention to bring him back.
Right, but this person doesn't know you, and these are really expensive items. Actually, so that to that point, make a persuasion check.
Sure. 14.
All right, let's see. Sorry, things are falling off my desk. Pay full price up front, and if you bring them back and they're not damaged, we'll work out a rental fee.
Okay, what's full price?
For 2?
Mm-hmm.
9,500.
9,500. Okay,
Gold.
fine. Kale starts like ripping platinum pieces and gold out of his bag of holding, and just like dropping it like it's taking a minute because there's a lot.
Okay, as you're doing that, they're like frantically trying to like put it in stacks so that it's countable afterwards when all is said and done. And yeah, if you have 9,500 gold, mark that off. It in total worth of money.
Shit, I just deleted all my gold, but I still have my platinum, but I was hoping it would do both. Okay.
Control Z?
Does it work on D&D Beyond? Nope.
Nope.
I had like 2,000, so let's say I just have 2,000 gold. It's a little bit more than that, but then, okay, so 900 platinum, remove, 500 gold, remove. Done. Did it.
Okay.
So 900 platinum pieces and 500 gold pieces just piled.
Pile of money. Oh. All right. Okay, 1 second. Then they like you get the impression that they like fully didn't believe that this was like a transaction that they were going to be making at 4 o'clock in the morning. So they leave everything sitting there stacked on the table and disappear into a back room. The door closes behind them. You hear like jostling around. You hear like the opening of something else, like a creaky sound, and then the slap of it closing. Sorry if that was loud. And they come back and they've got one huge carpet. It's when it's unrolled, it's 6 foot by 9 foot, and that's a heavy carpet. So they've got this one huge one they've got over their shoulder. They kind of like lay it down kind of over the table there. It's blue and it's got this like gold thread woven through it. It doesn't have any discernible meaningful pattern. It's just a really pretty sort of cerulean and gold together. And they come out with another smaller one that's purple with red tassels on the end and this red thread that's been woven to look kind of like a rising sun on the water, where there's like half of it's cut off and then there's a round part in there. It looks like flames almost, like sun rays coming off of it.
Cool. How do they work? What do we do? What's the trick?
Let me look up flying carpets really quick. You know, actually, I guess that's probably in here as well. I'm pretty sure they have command words. That's
but I'm looking at it. D&D Beyond right now. It says you speak its command word, and then it just does whatever you tell it to do, basically.
He like goes through some papers behind his desk and starts flipping through something. Points at the big one. That one. You speak, and he says in Celestial the word for soaring. So if any of you speak Celestial, and if you don't, then it just sounds like this really nice sort of almost angelic sounding language. And he looks at the little one. That one. Also in Celestial, he says, That can't be right. Flips a couple of pieces of papers. Okay. Flying. Not very creative types, these enchanters.
Okay. As soon as he does that, Kale points at each of them in turn and says their command words in Celestial.
Mm-hmm. And they unwrap, like, because they're rolled up currently. They kind of like slowly unwrap and.
All right, cool. Thank you very much for this. Sorry to bother you. My name is Kale Irvine. I'm from Eltergard. I'm a champion of the Near, the god of glyphs and writing and knowledge and stuff. And if you need to get in touch with somebody, have them, get a scroll of sending or something and have them send me a message if we don't come back in an ample amount of time.
I am Fadril, and if I'm ever woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm glad it's for something like this.
Great.
And starts like piling money into like a bag.
And Kale starts ushering everybody out the door, like, all right. And he commands the carpets to just fly out the door, just
like,
by themselves.
Yeah, turn to the side and fly out the door.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you have 2 carpets. So the larger carpet is 6 foot by 9 foot. It can hold up to 800 pounds and fly at a 30-foot fly speed. The smaller one can hold up to 200 pounds and fly 80 feet per round, but they can carry up to double their capacity and fly at half speed. So that puts you at putting 2 people on the little one and being able to fly 40 feet per round, and the big one, the other 3, can be on and will fly 30 feet per round.
Okay. So I don't know, Kale just jumps on the big one, I guess. Or no, he jumps on the little one. There's a possibility of going faster if you kick somebody else off. He says, all right, let's go.
Taz will hop on the bigger one.
Okay. Yeah, so you figured if you put the 2 lightest people on one, then that one could go half speed. But if you put all 4 of you on the other one, then how much do you think Taslin weighs?
115 pounds is what I have on his character sheet for his total weight, and that's not including gear, though.
Okay, which
so
is gear?
Probably
weight?
under 200 or 200 pounds. I would say he doesn't have a lot of gear. I would say he probably is about 150 tops.
Okay.
With, like the quarterstaff and all of his pack.
Then if the 4 of you altogether would be under 800 pounds, and that one can still go 30 feet. Meanwhile, Kale could be by himself and go 80 feet. But if not, then the bigger carpet will be at 15 feet per round. Unless Kale would like to share.
Well, are we doing the thing where we're going to try to lure people out first? If that's the case, do we want to send a scouting party first? That seems logical.
We can do that, yeah, once we get closer, though. We can always stop once we get kind of nearby, once I feel like we're close, and then swap, things and have somebody go scout.
Okay, so it doesn't matter right now. All right.
Yeah.
I will hop on.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the stats so that you know who, if you move people around, what's going to be slow and fast and stuff like that. You choose to do with it whatever you would like.
Are y'all done wasting time now?
Yep.
Okay.
Climb on. I'm sure you're going to love this. This will be a fun adventure for you.
How does Malcolm feeling about flying?
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
He's not liking it.
Yeah. Just hold on tight.
I get on the big one and I put my paw down for Wampum. I said, "Come on, buddy."
And
Why do you all test a dwarf paste with this shit?
I haven't opened my mouth once. I just want to go on record for saying.
This is the fastest way to do it. I'm sorry, we can't just tunnel our way there.
You need to go up in power and find a way.
Full disclosure, I may have used the sending spell a few times today.
Okay, well, that's bad for you, I guess. And I'm going to command our thing to go off, and then I guess the only other person who speaks Celestial is Lefcadio, I think, because he taught it to Kale. So, Lefcadio, you have the helm of that one.
Make it so. Okay, yeah. So I guess if the four of you are all climbing on the other one, the four of you are probably over 800 pounds, depending upon how much gear do you think Wampum has on him? Because he's a sturdy individual, but I don't know how much his gear weighs.
Wampum at the moment, if I look on D&D Beyond, weight carried 158 pounds.
Yeah, so about 300 is about right. So right now, the big carpet is actually going to be slower than walking.
No, don't worry about it. I'm on the purple. I'm on the purple with Kale.
With Kale? Oh, okay.
One, yeah.
All right, then yeah. So you two are going to go 40 feet, and the other three are going to be able to go 30 feet. So they'll be able to travel to normal speed, but of course flying, so that negates having to move in and around the city and such. So
to hope that the Griffin guys aren't upset that we're supposed to get a license or something. I don't know, but we're just
I'll
gonna
just
try
do
and
what
get
I did
out
with
of
the
here.
E-Freaks that one time. It'll be fine.
Sure, yeah.
This is private airspace.
Yeah, get
Where's
the
your
clear by the
permit?
FCC.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you just lift off and take off towards the mountain, or do you head out of town through a more normal path? What would you? It's still dark outside. It is really nearing dawn. There's that sort of like purple grayish tint, and off on the horizon, you do see the twinge of orange as the sun is about to come up over the horizon.
Okay. I mean, Kale would be down to just go in a straight line as possible.
Okay. All right. So you are on your individual carpets, flying at a decent speed. You lift up over the sort of tops of the city, and you do see there are a few people who are standing on like battlements in the distance. As you get closer to them, look over quickly and see that you're coming from inside the city, and they make a quick assessment and have their hands on their weapons as you fly out. But you're awfully high in the air at this point, and they think better of it. Doesn't look like you're carrying anything necessarily. Whatever, it's early for this. And you take off, and as you're traveling towards I'm assuming the mountain range is where you're heading, just making a beeline for it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the sun begins to rise over the horizon, and true to the word of Madame Blackstaff, whose first name I have forgotten, as the sun crests over the horizon and the sort of first light creeps up the side of the mountain and begins to hit one of the peaks, you do see that the foremost peak out overlooking the smaller tops has just this air of darkness around it that the light should have covered in some way or eradicated. It's light, it's supposed to illuminate the darkness, but this darkness is persistent until it slowly withdraws or disappears into the top of the mountain. And I think that's a good place to end it for today.
Perfect.
Thanks for playing, everyone. Thanks for being with us, Chad. Appreciate you all. You're hilarious, and I love your jokes. I'm Katie Quixotic. I stream on my own channel. You can find me everywhere at Katie Quixotic. I'm usually on Twitter. Every other Tuesday, I play D&D with Ascension Stories. Every Saturday, I'm here. I'm trying to think of all the other things that I do with D&D. Every Sunday, we play over at Sleepiest_, my friend Jenny's channel. However, tomorrow, I will be DMing on my own channel the second of a two-part series. That is a tie-up of the last campaign that we just ended for our Sunday game. And my favorite thing about today was watching you all plan and the like fears and expectations and things like that, and then also the development between between us and Kale. I'm so here for this. Yeah, so that was wonderful, and I loved every minute of it. And we'll go clockwise as we appear on the screen, so we'll start with Carl from here.
Hi, I'm Carl, and I play Lefcadia Whitehorn. The place that you can find me is here. At the time at which you can do so is this time. Except for next week. We won't be playing next week, but every other Saturday after that, give or take, we will be playing here and now. My favorite part about this episode was also the Noskale scene. it has been alluded to in the past. So seeing it progress is satisfying.
Cool.
And yeah. Go ahead.
Yep, I'm Vinny. I played Kale, cleric, blah blah blah. You can find me on social media, but an easier way to get a hold of me would probably be to find 2 oak twigs, dig them into the ground about 3 inches each, and then wrap some plant fibers around both of them, and make sure you get a perfect C sharp note from the tautness, and just twang on that for about 35 minutes straight, and then whisper your greatest desire into the music, and I will appear to you as a woodland creature. And my favorite part of today, with the exception of obviously the character development between Nos and Kale, honestly, was probably buying a carpet. Like, I liked the image of just running through at 4 a.m. and screaming as loud as I can, like, "Who sells a carpet?" So that was fun. I love Waterdeep, and I love every time I get to go there and interact with it. So that was nice. And I'm throwing it to Casey.
Oh gosh, I'm Casey. I have been Nos, your Hobgoblin Azamar, Champion of Time War, Impaler, Planeshacker, Heckler, Big Fire Chickens, and She Who Fights Storm. I can be found on my Twitter at KCH, where there is a big fat schedule up on the top banner, and that's where you can find me and when, and it's clear as day. I hope. My favorite part today was between making sharp bardic instruments, which is very cool. I kind of think that we've all been waiting for the Skelly Boys to acquire their instruments officially. And then the other thing that I really enjoyed was Katie's adherence to the time of day, because I don't think that that's actually happened before, where the time of day has actually been that consequential outside of mechanics yet. So that was really nice, getting the effects of it being 4 a.m. properly. And then I also liked your description, Katie, of the magic shop sign that dictates, okay, yeah, probably Arcanists know what it actually says, but you get that just that it's a magic shop because lightning bolt. That's like 10 out of 10. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I will pass it to John. Have you gone yet?
Hey guys, I am John. I am Wampum Thunderbelly.
Yay!
Battle Master Dwarf. You can find me basically here. This is where I am. But I got 2 things I enjoyed today. I got of course making the Skelly Boy band, a truthful band. And I also like the aspect of toasting Nos as she's going up steps.
Yeah.
Wampum, saw the enjoyment in her eyes as he knew where she was going.
Yeah.
So, and then what you think, Taslin?
Oh boy. Oh geez, thrown on the spot. I'm Graham. I play Taslin, your Shadow Archive Necromancer. You can find me on Fridays somewhere, either on Mixer or on like 5 different Twitch channels. Hopefully you don't find me on my Twitch channel, because that means something went horribly wrong and that I'm doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff myself. You can find me playing Session 0 next Friday at 8 to 10:30 on the Tales of Ilaria Twitch channel, with our first episode ever where I drag 8 players through a homebrew world. Otherwise, you can find me here at the best show, Half Right Heroes, every Saturday, but not next Saturday, so not really every Saturday. My favorite part was definitely today's a good day to die.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, that seemed like the most Nos thing I've ever heard Nos say.
She used to, for the people that didn't know her before she died the first time and had her body reformed, she used to have a back tattoo. And it said "Born number 2, die," and it was in like old Gothic font.
What?
That's perhaps the best thing I've ever heard about.
Graham, you knew that. It was revealed the Venom troll fight where she got like half of her clothes burned. She was decent.
Oh, yeah, Taslin would have known that because that was when Allie was still there. But yeah, that was my favorite part. Throwing it to Katie or throwing it to something.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, it's funny because so much is always going through my mind that I'm like, yeah, this was amazing and I loved every minute of it. But it's a good day to die, and also Taslin covering up Wampum and then pretending that it wasn't him. That was so precious, and I loved that. And after that, and the housekeeping of yes, we won't be here next week because I'm sorry, I'll be in Minnesota, but we will be back the following week. And I'll see you all then. I think that's it. We're done for the day, huh?
That's right.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.